what if there is a pattern that needs to be broken? What if this is not just about you or your efforts? If you've been struggling with some negative patterns in your life or some generational patterns that are negative and you really want to break out of them, this could be patterns of late marriage, barrenness, shame, disgrace. There are so many negative patterns that are passed down from our fathers to us, and we sometimes carry on these patterns without even knowing. If you've been struggling with this, or if you don't even know that there is a pattern in your generation that needs to be broken, then this video is for you, because in this video I'll be sharing with you my life story, how I have been able to break the negative patterns in my family, the negative patterns that would have swallowed me and made me to live a life of shame, a life of disgrace, a life of delay and other things. So welcome to my world, welcome to my story. I'm Diamond Mom. I film about motherhood, relationship and lifestyle. I am a Christian and an instrument for the kingdom of God. And for some while now, it has been placed in my spirit to make a video on this, on how I was able to break the negative patterns in my family, in my generation, so that it doesn't affect me. It has been placed in my heart to put this video out because I believe there are so many people that might be in this situation. There are so many people that don't even know that they are in this situation, that they need to break something. So even if you feel like this video is not for you, hold on, because you don't need to be in the situation first of all before you break something. You need to prepare ahead of time, consciously or unconsciously. You need to break things that might even meet up with you in the future. You need to take charge of your morning so that your evening will be settled and peaceful. My journey started when I was just 15 years old. I just come out of secondary school and I started to have this desire to be closer to God. Of course, I came from a Christian family and my parents have also imbibed that passion for God. They have also brought us up in the way of the Lord. So at that tender age of 15, I started to have that intentionality, that consciousness of wanting to be close to God. And I can remember then that in my paternal home, there was this negative pattern of all the granddaughter giving birth out of wedlock. Now, mind you, this thing might not really be due to them living a wayward lifestyle or them causing it by themselves. It might be something beyond that. So I would always hear news and stories of this person getting pregnant out of wedlock, this person staying at home for almost 30 years without getting married. So I started to think and be like, what is this? Because of course I might not be exempted. At that time, I did not attribute it to anything generational or being a cause or a negative pattern that actually needed to be broken. But I just wanted to actually do something to also save myself, or will I say to insure myself. I wanted to insure myself. I wanted to keep myself in safe hands, because I don't want to also be part of that pattern. It was a shameful thing because everybody around, they were already pointing fingers at, oh, these people, that this family, this. So I knew already at that age 15 that I don't want to be part of this narrative. I want to break out from this. Even if it will start with me, I want to do something. And here was what I did to ensure myself and ensure that I would be safe from those negative patterns. On this fateful day, I went for a church program, and I am a Catholic, and during the exposition of the Blessed Sacrament, I felt an overwhelming presence of God around me, and I did something that changed my life and that set the pace for my future. Here is what I did. I made a promise to God. I made an oath at that point where I could feel the presence of God around. I made a promise to God, and I promised him, because of course at that age of 15 I was still a virgin. I promised him that I would dedicate my virginity to him, that I would keep myself up until my wedding night. If he would come true for me at any time, at any point in time, I want him to come true for me. That I want to keep myself, I want to sell myself to him. I want to sell myself up until when I get married. Yet I didn't actually know what I did. I didn't know how powerful what I promised was. I didn't know that it was going to be like something that would always come up at every point in my life for the rest of my life, up until when I got married. And mind you, God accepted my humble offering. He did. Of course, I know he did. I knew he accepted me the way I came, the way I offered myself to him. And for every relationship I had, the first thing I would usually tell the guy would be that, see, we cannot have any sexual thing because I am sold out for God. And the guy would be like, are you sure? Are you sure? I said yes. And even though maybe there would be times where I would lose my self-control, God always has a way of bringing me back to consciousness, either using me or even using the guy in question. Because if it was left to my own human ability, I wouldn't have been able to keep up to that promise. But that promise I made, I actually told God that I want you to come true for me. I am giving myself in totality to you. I am devoting myself, body and soul and spirit, to you, physically and spiritually. And this is what I want you to do. Whenever I call upon you, answer me. Yes, as simple as that prayer was, whenever I call upon you, answer me. I didn't know what to ask at that time. I did not know what to do. I didn't even know, okay, what to ask. But I just knew that, God, I'm giving myself to you. Please, whenever I call upon you, answer me. Because I do not live for myself. I don't live for my own anymore. And I remember that the first thing I asked God for to do for me was to give me admission into my desired university on merit. And it came true for me. He did it. It showed that, yes, He has accepted me. And He would come true for me at any point in time. Now, getting to the part of me breaking patterns, breaking the pattern of getting pregnant out of wedlock and of late marriage in my family. I was in my third year in the university, and I started to have this consciousness of, God, what would early marriage be like for me? See, mind you, before I got into the university, I had always been a serious minded person, a career driven person. In fact, I did not want to do marriage before 25 years. I wanted to finish the university, go for my master's, and be on my PhD even before considering marriage. So, early marriage has not ever been in my dictionary. But getting to my third year, a lot changed. I started to have this mindset of, what if God has destined me to get married on time? What if, what not? And then I remembered my promise, and I went back to Him and told Him that, God, if you want me to get married on time, then give me the right person. I don't want to do marriage wrong. I came from a very peaceful and loving home, and I saw marriage as being a sweet thing, as being a joyful thing. So I knew that if I want to go into marriage, and if it had to be early, then it has to be what it's like. God has to give me the right person. He has to give me someone whose principles align with mine, because I have always been a very principled person, So I didn't just want to get into marriage and then I'll lose myself, or marriage would mar me. No. If I was going to do marriage, I told God, He has to bring the right person. And at that point in time, I started to get like confirmations all around me. Like, if I should go to visit people that normally knows me as being a career-minded person, they'll be like, oh, before you know now, you will now get married. I'll be like, me married? No, please, it's not my dictionary, please. Because I was just 19 going to 20 then. So marriage was like something that I never wanted to even think of at that point in time. Not until maybe 5 or 6 years later or 7 years later, when I must have accomplished so many things I had on my checklist. But then I did not just push it off. Yes, because the spirit keeps on coming back. And I had to actively make this as a prayer that, God, okay, if you have ordained me, if you have destined me to do marriage early, then bring the right person my way. Of course, because the person I was currently dating then was nothing close to what I would have considered for marriage. No. Was nothing close to. So I had not even dated people that I would even see like, okay, that this person is the right person for me. So I made it a prayer. I knew I myself, I wasn't even ready for marriage, mentally, physically, like in every ramification. I wasn't ready, but I just started to pray actively that, God, bring the right person my way. Do this so that it would please you, so that it will not spoil the journey that I have been building with you, the journey that I have been on with you. Bring the right person to complement it. Yes, He showed me that He accepted me, that He accepted the sacrifice I made to Him. He brought the right and the perfect person for me. However, when this person came, that was just before I got into my final year. He came physically looking opposite of what I had prayed for. And I wanted to be like, oh no, God, this cannot be it. Then I had a confirmation from my mom. God bless the woman for me. I had a confirmation from my mom to calm down and give this person a chance. That it doesn't have to be looking shining, It doesn't have to be looking shining. I should look on the inside. And I am glad I listened to her advice, because I can tell you that God prepared my husband specifically for me. Because as of then, I had not even discovered my purpose. I had not even discovered what I really wanted to do in life. I just knew that I wanted to be a career person, and I know the career I want to, pursue and other things. And that was how I got married at the age of 21. I broke the yoke in my family. I am the first and the only person yet so far who has gotten married at the age of 21. And the marriage is not that I got pregnant. I know. I got married the right way. And see, I cannot even say that I actually deserve it or that I did something extraordinary. I can only say that God came through for me, that God showed Himself, that God accepted me. My own early marriage was my destiny. It wasn't something that I actually rushed into or something that I wanted for myself. I did not want it for myself. It was something that God brought to me, that God used to break a pattern in my family. So you see, I did not even know that there was a pattern that I needed to break. But unconsciously, I had already broken it with that promise I made when I was 15 years old. That promise came true for me 6 years later, I had already broken that pattern of late marriage and of giving birth out of wedlock. But something again started to swell up in my heart, that what if there was a pattern of barrenness in my life? See, I've always been a person of principles and reality. I don't like to deceive myself or to live in denial. I like to face reality. So it started to swell up in me just immediately after I got married, before we were even ready to take in, because I and my husband decided that we were going to wait for 6 months after our marriage before we would conceive. So him, on his own part, he had already made the decision that okay, 6 months later we're going to try and start conceiving. And on my part, I started to have that feeling of I need to do something and I need to do it fast. I don't need to wait until when I am ready, until that month, before I do something to actually be able to conceive. So I started to feel like, what if there was a pattern of barrenness? What if there was a pattern of miscarriage? What if this? What if that? And I did something again. Yeah, I have this kind of relationship of working with him, actively working with him. Tangible journey. It's not a superficial journey. I remember 2 months after getting married, of course, I started to consciously pray on my own that God, whenever I am ready to take in, please, I don't want to wait. I don't want to look for a child, because I don't want to pass through the pains of having to be disappointed every month and year. And see, I just knew that I wanted God to do this for me, and I wanted him to break it in advance. Here was what I did in church again. Yes, see, I cannot even stay away from the church, because the church has brought me so much peace, so much joy, so much confirmation, so much assurance. It has brought me closer and closer to God, so I cannot even stay away from the church. And I did something in the church again. On that fateful Sunday, a new Bible has just been launched, and we were called upon to come and launch it, to come and open it. And I felt it in my spirit. I felt it in my spirit that this is my time, that this is the time for me to take that step of faith. And what did I do? I stood up, I went and I collected a Bible and made a pledge of 5,000 naira, of which I redeemed the following week. Now, this is the Bible. This is the Bible. I collected this Bible and I made a covenant with God also that this Bible would be my family Bible. Yes, that this Bible would be my family Bible. This particular Bible, it is a special Bible, because I want it to be that whenever I pray with this Bible, oh God, you would answer me. For every need of my family, you would answer me. And also, whenever I am ready to conceive, whenever I and my husband are ready, Lord, I don't want to wait. I don't want to be disappointed. I want you to come through for me. And then on June 2019, I and my husband decided to try for our first child. And we tried for that, and I would tell you that God is faithful. A week later, I got the confirmation that I was pregnant. This is not even something that I should be proud of, or I should say, hey, it was by my power. No, it was God that came through for me, and it was because I worked in advance. I actually sensed that what if there was a pattern? What if there is something that actually needs to be broken? And I want to put this out to you. If you're facing delay in any part of your life, be it barrenness, be it with marriage, with your career, with shame, with poverty, I want you to begin to consider, what if there is a pattern that needs to be broken? What if this is not just about you or your efforts? What if there is a negative declaration upon all the firstborn son, or the firstborn daughter, or the lastborns, or the secondborn? What if there is something that you need to go to the root to break? So I want you to approach your situation just the way I approached mine, and watch him do it for you. Just let him lead you. Listen to him, because he spoke to me at that time for me to get up and go and get this Bible. And he also placed it in me for me to make a covenant of dedicating myself to him at that tender age of 15, of which would actually fight battles for me 5-6 years later. Even up until now, I still refer to that covenant, to that oath I took. I have so many other patterns that I have consciously broken, even without even knowing if there was a pattern, of course, because I like to walk ahead. I like to approach things ahead. So I'm sharing this with you, even if it is just one person that this video blesses. I'll be so much fulfilled. I'll be so much happy. Please also share this video out to so many people out there. You never can tell. There might be someone going through some negative patterns in their life that needs to be broken, and this video might be a blessing to that person. If you've been blessed by this video, please give this video a thumbs up and share this video. Also subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.